What's up, everybody? I'm Nick with Matt from Multirotors, and today the guys at InventorFPV have sent me the Sparrow Racing Quad Sparrow Night R220. It has two names. I just keep calling it the Sparrow Racing Quad. Let's take a look at this thing. It's pretty sweet looking. You guys are going to have to bear with me on this one. This thing is definitely something different than I'm having to learn about as I look into it. So this is the Sparrow Racing Quad from InventorFPV.com. It comes in this real pretty envelope, real thick, real padded. So formal and fancy and professional. And inside the envelope you have a box. Plain box. But on the bottom, this is a combination of language I know and language I don't. So, basic drawing, Sparrow Night. It is a 220mm frame. It has 10 degrees of motor tilt out on the frame itself. Camera cage design. POM molded shell. I don't know what exactly POM molding entails, but I know this is a molded carbon fiber frame. But enough about the box. Let's take a look inside. So, first thought, cool. All individual parts and pieces. Reminds you of the old die-cast models. Okay. We got Hong Kong FPV racers. Rubberized type battery strap. GoPro mount. Seat, I guess. Mount, seat. Chair. Got their two arms. Nice etching on it. Nice beveled edge as well. I like that. It's real smooth. It's not sharp corners. They're actually beveled smooth. You can, come on, see if I can get a good view of that. Yep, I can. So there's a Sparrow, their logo, and a nice rounded edge. These arms are 1, 2, 3 millimeter. Over here. 1, 2, 3 millimeter. So real thick, real in spec. I'll get you guys a weight once I get everything put together. The other bag, we have the molded carbon fiber frame. Now this is interesting. Let me get you all clear focus. It's two pieces. Well, come apart. There we go. It's two pieces molded carbon fiber. Now I'm not real sure about how this process works. Guys, one more little nerdy bit for you. Y'all may not know this, but I am studying manufacturing engineering, and I realized I forgot to go over the POM. Now, this looks like carbon fiber. You can see it's got the texture, it's got the color, it's got the paint, the look. Not the paint, whatever. But it says on the box it's POM molded, and comparing it to the arms, I mean, side by side, you can tell it's not quite the same. Now, I've tried cutting on this. It doesn't peel like plastic, and I was just reading up because it says POM molded. What POM molding is, it's polyoxymethylene. So it's a thermoset plastic, meaning you mix together some chemicals and then you either extrude it through a tiny hole into a mold or you injection mold it into a mold, which same basic concept. One is a mold and one's just kind of a piece. So this is not pure carbon fiber, but if I had to guess, it's carbon fiber reinforced. The reinforcement binder being that polyoxymethylene. So it's probably mixed together and then pushed into a mold that compacts it into the shape. However, that doesn't answer how the layer pattern is perfect. So I did read on it. I don't think this is 100% genuine carbon fiber. It may just be polyoxymethylene and then wrapped in or mixed together, or that's just the binder between the sheets. But that I said I would explore on it, and I did. It is still really stiff. It does have, this is the only flex the quad has right here between these two plates, but it's stiff, it's hard, it survives crashes, but that's what it is. I said I'd look it up, and there's a little information for you. I mean, it looks real clean. It has a similar Vendetta type look to it, but not quite. It's got a few little, can you see that? Yeah, it's got a few little, I don't know if they're nicks or imperfections or what, but I mean, it looks good. It looks a little bit unfinished, and that may just be the molding process. I know carbon fiber is not the easiest thing to work with. The bottom plate has pretty similar. I mean, it looks really good. I'm interested in the little pattern right here. If y'all can see it, it's kind of swirled. I'd like to know if this is painted or molded, but I'm not really willing to scratch it. It is fairly stiff, but it does have some give to it. It's a little heavy too. Again, I'll get you guys a weight once I get everything put together. But I mean, it looks clean, all pieced together as such. It's a pretty cool looking little quad. I mean, it definitely has motor tilt, and the flying angle is definitely interesting. Low profile mount for the battery too, so it offers a little bit of protection for the frame. Oh, rest of the parts and pieces. We got hardware, stainless steel, we got a camera mount. We have battery lead. I'm assuming this is some form of landing skid for under the battery. If so, that's freaking cool. We've got the rest of the camera mount pieces. One RGB LED, which I assume goes back here, but I'm not 100% yet. I don't know, I'll figure it out. And then I'm not real sure what this is. It might be, yeah, okay, it goes up inside of here. No, I'm not going to force it yet because I haven't built it, but it goes up in here to hold everything locked in the rear. So that's pretty cool. But pretty neat little frame. It's going for $170 right now on InventorFPV.com. A little pricey, but it is molded carbon fiber. I'm really looking forward to building it. I think it looks pretty cool. I haven't seen an instruction manual yet, so I'll browse RC groups and look around a few places to see if I find one. If not, then, well, I'll figure it out. That's how this works. But I want to get a record for the longest build I've ever had to do would probably go to this one. Now, you may notice I have two. They sent me this one originally, and it was defective. The front arms were not square. You can kind of see it right there. So they sent me a second one. Great guys, great communication. They work great. They're great guys. But international shipping sucks. All right, that being said, get out of here. This thing's pretty cool. Frame weight was right at 136 grams. Built weight was just south of 400 grams without the battery. So this is definitely a heavy freaking frame. It's tight. It's definitely tight. You don't have a whole lot of room to work with in there, but it does all fit, believe it or not. The battery's underhung, hangs on the bottom, and it's kind of protected here, and there's that little landing skid. I took it off because the strap I'm using was too short. I really like this thing. I do. I absolutely love it. So before I go any further, understand that I do like this frame. It looks cool. It kind of has a Batman style look to it from Dark Knight Rises, the Bat. It's made for the HS1177 cam. This is the Foxeer Arrow. So it didn't quite fit. You can kind of see the curve right here, but I made it fit. It does fit, it just doesn't like to fit, if that makes sense. And it does have quite a bit of camera angle, and then combined with the natural resting tilt of the motors, you can get a pretty steep angle out of this quad. You get some pretty fast forward flight. It is definitely tight. You need to plan it out ahead of time. You need to make it pretty. I do have pictures of this on my rotor builds. I'll link it below if you want to look at it more. It's a pretty damn neat, unique looking quad. I know there's another version that this was allegedly copied of, but honestly this has enough different details to where this is not a clone. This is a copy of an idea, but this is a unique frame all on its own. I did show you a little GoPro mount before. It is pretty cool because it doesn't require a bolt, zip tie, or anything. There's this little slot and hole right here in the top you can see, and corresponding. You literally just set it on and push it in. And it does not move. It stays right there. So that works great. It looks great. Functions great. Now that I've gone over everything I like about this quad, there are a few things that were, I guess, not defects, but they're things I want to talk about. Number one, my first few flights actually, it took off on me. I don't know if it's the frame itself, but it does have a lot of vibration involved. I think it's because this is flexible. It may not have a whole lot to do with it, but I had to do some serious tune guessing to get this thing to work. I ended up having to drop my D value down to like nothing, running 4 kilohertz refresh. This is an X-Racer V303, so it is F303. It is capable of 8 kilohertz refresh times, but soft mounting is a necessity that I could not do on this thing because, well, first off, I didn't have the grommets, and second off, it's pretty damn tight in there. The next part was during one of my first flights. I armed it and it took off, was gone. It was a fresh flash of Betaflight version 3, so it was literally default PIDs and tunes and everything else, and on a belly landing, come on, focus, you can see it kind of delaminated. I did not hit here. I landed over here on the flat butt spot, but it delaminated here. Now a little super glue will fix that up, but I found that interesting. That's the only damage I've put on this thing so far. Now, speaking of damage, I know this is molded carbon fiber, so it's never going to be perfect. I don't know how much the $170 of this frame goes into materials versus R&D versus that sort of thing, but just looking at these two side by side, ignore the zip ties for hanging, there is definitely a difference in quality between these two. Not just the material texture itself, but you can see these little indentations. Again, it's the frame, it's molded carbon fiber. I don't know the whole process of how they do it. That may be inevitable. I'm just pointing it out because it's there. I mean, everything else is nice. It's pretty, it's tidy, it works great. So, do I like this frame? Yes, I absolutely love this frame. It has a unique look. You're not going to see it everywhere. It works great. It's got these little RGB LEDs in the back. That little square pad I showed you that just slips into this little... I don't know if that's printed or milled. It kind of looks milled. But it all just kind of clicks together. The top and bottom just click apart, and then that's it. So I do love this frame. It's definitely unique. $170 is a lot to swallow, though. But you can almost guarantee you won't see these in a whole lot of places. I think there's 2 or 3 sponsored pilots that have them, but I honestly haven't seen anybody with these, you know, on their own. But I like this frame. It's definitely good. I'm probably going to do a little more improvements to it, a little more flying to it. I like it. Yeah, I guess that's the gist here.